Hello there, great person. So, welcome to another episode of Let's Get Into Warhammer 40K, some lore diving with me. And today I'm gonna start doing the videos by Luetin. I'm sure he's probably or she's pronounced Luetin09 about the Emperor of Men and humanity. And I'm not gonna do this in one part because the video is 1 hour and 47 minutes long, I think. So you know me by now, and you know, oh, it's 127. But still, you know me. I will talk without end, and I don't want to like do a giant video, so I'm gonna split it into parts. And Luetin has nicely split his video into parts as well. So I will just do some parts, and then they will be released probably successively during the next days. And I can't wait to find some stuff out. So I've heard some stuff in the comments about the Emperor. He's apparently an eldritch god being from beyond time or something like that. I don't know. That's what they told me, and perhaps that's true. Perhaps that's rubbish. We will find out today and during the next days. So, as always, please remember first like his video. The link will be in the description of this video, and also like and share this video if you like the stuff. Helps me out a bit. But we are now going to get into the lore of the God Emperor, Emperor of Man, Shalom the Fourth. No, of course not. That's doomed. So let's just go. Okay, there we are. So today we are actually going to listen to the first part, which is called, well, chapter 1 is called Overview, chapter 2 is called Ancient History. So we will dive into those and just start. And as I said, give him a like. He's doing good content. Like, it's very newbie friendly. I mean, I'm a noob. I understand most of what he says. So let's go.
There once was a man born in a forgotten time, created by a force of unknown origin. He would cross the ages knowing his one purpose: to lead humanity as the greatest empire in the galaxy.
Where is he leading them? If you're a leader, you lead people towards something. What's he gonna do? Like, is he gonna conquer the galaxy? Is he then gonna cross the great void between galaxies and conquer that one as well? Like, when will he be happy? Like, the universe is infinite. Like, what is his goal? What does he want? But yeah, so he's apparently created by an eldritch force. Like, I'm gonna assume it's like perhaps by the warp itself, perhaps by a god that was in the warp before like warp became a thing. I don't know.
The Imperium of Man. In this time, he would be known by only one name: the Emperor of Mankind.
Ah, there he is in all his glory, his golden glory. Yeah, so some people told me that the symbology, like his eagles, are more Roman and not like the German eagle. Though the German eagle was, of course, I think descended from the Roman eagles. But yeah, so he's got the eagle here, like it's like that's his symbol, and I think he's got a dragon here. Interesting, which is a symbol for chaos. So, oh, and he's got this cross, which is that a Templar cross, or is that like the first, like the Prussian cross?
This is Luetin. I must first apologise for the length of time since the last project. The simplest explanation is it took me a long time to compile amid many other things going on for me.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that like his video is 1.5 hour long. So yeah, first of all, I love this Gothic city. Looks a bit like Minas Tirith and Anolondo had a very, very, very quickly, cancerously growing child. So that looks pretty cool.
So we now move on from the Eldar history and wade into one of the
I will do that one later.
Complicated narratives in
next week
the
or so
universe of the 41st millennium. It is, of course, the rise of humanity and the Imperium. In the dark, never-ceasing war that is the future, humans have risen to control and maintain a galaxy-spanning empire whose official title is the Imperium of Mankind.
Yeah, and I was told it has like more than 1 million star systems, which is very, very vast. Like sometimes you just have empires that span like 100. Like in Star Wars, it's probably like 300 star systems, I guess. So pretty cool that there are so many.
The Imperium is the largest and most powerful political entity in the galaxy. It has been established for a period of some 10,000 years up to its present date in the age of Warhammer 40K. The lore and scripture around this period is massive. Despite this daunting task though, I've decided to interpret it in one piece chronologically, splitting it into chapters so as to best enable you guys to get an understanding and a grasp of what it is all about.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like I can imagine this is so rich, and that's the impression I get from everything I watch about this universe. It's very, very rich, very well thought through, very creative. So it's a good sign that this is so long. And he's pretty like rough with things he says. Like it's not like I imagine there's tons and tons of more lore behind what that I'm not seeing.
This is the third video in my Warhammer 40,000 lore series, and it seeks to create a foundation for all of the further videos which talk about the Imperium of Man.
That's good. I need that.
The Imperium of Man consists of the planets, systems, and forces throughout the galaxy which contain Imperial citizens and their derivatives.
Okay, so we've got a galaxy map. That's nice. So I can't really read this because it's very small. But so we've got Ultima Segmentum, so the best segment. So this is probably their main home world. I mean, it's the galactic core, so there's like supermassive black holes here. Better not get close to those. So yeah, so Holy Terror, so Earth is here. I think that's actually a bit like old. So I think we know that it's like here. I think, as far as I know, like there are recent research that Earth is more like here. So we see galaxy shining through here. We see another galaxy here. So we're like pretty out there, like with this one. Segmentum Solar, yeah. Segmentum Obscurus, that might be something where they have not gone. Segmentum Pacificus, that is perhaps something they conquered. Segmentum Tempestus, that's where these warp storms are, perhaps. I've heard that they can, like some races can create warp storms. Yeah, so that's all about the map that I talked about for some time now. So let's see what he tells me about the map now.
Not all humans are universally members of the Imperium though, and as you would expect, there are rogue traders and those who choose to live on the legal fringes of the society. The single most important figure within the Imperium is the aforementioned founder, saviour and ruler of this empire, known as the Emperor of Mankind.
Yeah.
He formed the Imperium some 10,000 years previous to the current established date in the universe of Warhammer 40,000 at the end of the 30th millennium.
Wow, so he managed to create an empire that lasts for 10,000 years, even more than 1,000 years, which was like what some mad other people tried to do here in my country. So very, 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 very rough and horrifying stuff. And he like did 10 times that. So it's probably equally horrifying, perhaps more. I'm not sure, but yeah.
This occurred following an especially brutal period of societal disintegration during the last days of the Age of Strife. In this video, I'll outline the political state that is the Imperium, as well as the history behind how humanity reached this point in the far future. As with anything
very
new, the
cool.
Complexity and depth
I
of
need
the
to
lore
know about
means I
that,
can't
definitely.
cover it in its fleshed entirety, so some tangents are going to have to remain for future videos, but I do my best to cover as much as possible which is relevant. The Emperor of Man sits as an extremely powerful figure within the Imperium. Make no mistake, he is the centre of humanity in the 41st millennium. So powerful a humanoid, he was arguably barely human to begin with, and he continues to protect mankind after his mortal wounding during the final battles of a period known as the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, okay, so I knew that. I knew that he was like mortally wounded in the final days of the Horus Heresy. Though he wants to protect humankind from what? From the aliens, like from the Xenos that attack it, or from the demons, from the chaos? From all of that? Probably from all of that, I guess, but yeah, from itself? Probably not, so yeah.
Were it not for his ever-present psychic voice reaching out, searching, protecting and planning, then the Imperium of Man would undoubtedly fall back into dark oblivion, and perhaps the light would be extinguished permanently. The Emperor was injured so badly after the heresy that he now exists only as a husk of a man within a stasis chamber called the Golden Throne.
Yeah, okay, so the Golden Throne, I've read that in the comments. So that's just a stasis chamber, which means he's like perhaps not even conscious. Some people said his consciousness was like very, very strong in psychic power. So he's like integrated into the warp, I guess, if I understood that correctly.
This allows him to live on eternally, as he has done for some past 10,000 years, whilst continually guiding mankind through psychic whispers. The only catch with this is thousands of psykers are sacrificed every day using their essence and psychic power to keep him alive, as he is heavily protected and attended to back on the ancient homeworld of legend, Terra, or Old Earth.
Wow, that's so badass and horrifying. Someone told me in the comments that he was eating souls, but yeah, like the ends justify the means, I guess, for him. I also am a bit confused. Why is he now able to die suddenly? Like he lived for millennia already. Why could he be mortally wounded suddenly? I hope they will tell me down the line, because that's something I'm not that clear about. Like what's up with that? How could he exactly get mortally wounded when like he was alive for so long, and like he lived through several world wars and stuff, and probably like a lot of nukes and stuff. So why did this cripple him so much, and why doesn't he regenerate?
Now we know that in this future we have access to highly advanced technology and face many voracious enemies wielding our own forces to then counter them. The important question in understanding the Imperium is, how did we get to this time? And to understand this, we need to look back at the extensive and dark history of humanity.
Oh, he looks cool as well. He's got the halo again. He's got this symbol. I've seen that somewhere before. But is that the Astartes symbol? Might be Astartes symbol. And he's pretty old, so and he's got a glaive that looks like a Kingdom Hearts key of Lingering Will. Cool design.
There is a small clue as to the way in which the people that constitute humanity in the 41st millennium view their past. That is, the imperial two-headed eagle, the crest of the Imperium. It stands with its two heads, but with one eye closed. Blind, or perhaps refusing to see the past. The other eye is open, looking to the future.
Yeah, that's some revisionist history bullcrap if I've ever seen one. Like, that's like, yeah, no, don't learn from the past. We will tell you what the past was if you need it, but you never need it. So just look into the future and eradicate some filthy Xenos. That's probably how they do it. I love the symbology, though. Reminds me of Janos, the, I think what is Greek or Roman god of duality, I think. Something like that. And, yeah, what about the present, mate? What about the present?
The logic being that the past of humanity is too painful or dangerous to look back on, so we look forward, striving to be stronger and more powerful, as we have done for thousands of years. There are distinct ages of humanity's history, and these tell the story of how we reached the time of the Imperium. 1 millennium equals 1,000 years. The Imperium has now been established for 10 millennia or 10,000 years. Humanity has existed for roughly 41,000 years.
Yeah, that is so unbelievably long. Like, so what do we have here? Ancient history, which is of course our history, so to speak. The Age of Terra is probably modern history, and perhaps Terra as a planet. Golden Dark Age of technology is obviously something. I think that's this age of greatness that like got corrupted by something. Age of Strife, don't know. Perhaps to regain your technology. Unification Wars is, I think, the Civil War. Great Crusade. No, Unification Wars can't be that. I think Horus Heresy is the thing that united them in the end. No, I think they were united probably in the Unification Wars, then led the Crusade to the stars, and then Horus Heresy came with infighting. And then the Imperium of Men, of course. So, oh, the Imperium of Men is after Horus Heresy. So it was not called that before that. Interesting, interesting. Let's start with ancient history. I can't wait.
The ancient history tells of the dawn of mankind, but this period is largely one of animalistic evolution. The most significant event occurs around 7000 BC. This event marks the birth of the humanoid, who would become the emperor of mankind. His origins are something of a heated debate among the 40K community. There are several theories around this, and it's important to note that something I rarely see stated on forums or discussions around the origins of the emperor is that quite simply no one knows the origins of the emperor. It's all just speculation.
Wow, okay, so we don't know where he is from, he just appeared, and they say animalistic times, pretty interesting. Like how did humans come to be at all in this universe? I mean, through evolution, probably, like we know from little mammals, little cellular creatures, like. But how did that evolve in this universe? Like, was it the warp creating it? I don't know. I currently imagine the warp as the magic answer to most of the stuff, which is probably terribly wrong. But I think it will make sense. And I know that like currently at least the researchers I know, and they work in these fields, they think that life probably came from asteroid, because I was there at a talk with some of them who do some research on formation of elements on asteroid surfaces, and they could show that water and the amino acids that we that are so important to our life as we know it, that they can form in space on asteroids just by natural processes. So it might be that like life forms on asteroids and they cut down and like seed planets, which might be engineered. So who knows? Okay, but this was a stupid tangent anyway. Let's go. So he's there. We don't know where he's from. He might be a god. He might be just an accident. Let's go. What is this mysterious person doing?
Simply because one theory has had a vague reference at one time or another does not make it gospel. In fact, as I've repeated before, the crux of the matter with imperial history and lore in general is that very little should ever be considered official or canon. Such is the state of the loss of history, misinformation, and suppression of facts within the 40K universe.
Yeah, that's so genius as well. Like, you have these great powers and you can allude to their origins, but then they might be wrong. They might be just propaganda, they might be lies, they might be heresy even. And the writers here can play with that. It's so cool. So yeah, we've got some unknown origins. Great.
So essentially, the correct version is the version you want to believe. In a universe where history
very
is
cool.
stored over thousands of years, and in times of unimaginable devastation and strife, it's unlikely something could be considered a cold, hard fact.
Yeah, it's so great. Like everyone can pick their own thing as their truth, so to speak. And I'm careful with that wording because that's dangerous territory, I think. But yeah, it's interesting. So if someone likes a theory in their headcanon, it can be the true theory. I like that.
Especially when you're talking about events that happened in ancient history in an age where accurate recording of information seems unlikely or even impossible to have survived. The first version of these events is the often widely accepted background, which states that in the ancient times, some humans carried a natural affinity or awareness of the warp. These were the earliest psychers. They would be village shamans,
yeah,
shamans, ancient communities.
Brilliant. I love that. I love shamans, and ancient tribes and their rituals and like or aborigines, something like that. I love that. The culture is so interesting. Their stories are so weird, alien, and still very fascinating. Love it. So that's the lore. So people that have spiritual awareness in our world, they are the proto-psychers. Great stuff. Love that.
Their premonitions led them to understand that in the future, mankind would face the darkest of times. Their decided course of action would be to commit ritual suicide en masse, returning their souls and essence to the warp to then coalesce and be reborn as one supremely powerful psychic being.
Are they the ones that turn into demons? Is that how demons come to be?
This being would then spend the future millennia living a Highlander-like existence, transitioning from identity to identity, sometimes taking on famous leaders in history to steer humanity in the right direction.
Oh,
And
okay,
then
that's
upon
the
reaching
Emperor.
the Age of Strife, he would step into the fore to become the supreme leader of all humanity and unite us again throughout the galaxy.
Okay, so but he just said several like shamans did this. But this implies it's only one. There's like this one dude that killed himself on probably, I don't know, he like cut his throat, fell down, woke up again as this changed being, and then started to try to make humanity resistant to the aggressive xeno forces that are out there lurking in the universe. Pretty cool stuff. I really like this. This is such a cool idea. Never heard something like this, so pretty cool idea.
Now, some people take this as the most canon version of the Emperor's origin, but there are various others, including the one that I actually personally subscribe to. The shaman story is all very well and good, but it leaves me with some questions. For example, if these shaman were some of the earliest humans with only a vague awareness of the warp, how could they have such powerful precognition to foresee the need to create such a super being? In addition to
They
that,
created
if they were
it.
truly the earliest stowings of psychos for humanity, then surely they would not have been especially powerful, and even with their powers combined, how could they summon humanity's greatest champion? No, not Captain Planet.
Okay, so the rituals were not like, they didn't do that to themselves. They like sacrificed random dudes into deaths to the great horrors of beyond, so they might save the world in 40,000 years. I mean, that's pre-planning. It's actually pretty clever. So let's see what his theory
those two
is.
things stand out for me. Also, their plan to commit mass suicide and then hope that they would all be reborn together seems pretty spurious. It seems to tick the boxes from an okay, I guess that's possible point of view, but it just doesn't make sense beyond that.
Okay, so I got it wrong again. So they all indeed did kill themselves and merge together by this hypothesis, which is of course, at least in his mind, not correct. So let's see what his mind says.
Another theory is that the Emperor was in fact one of the Old Ones, who you will remember were one of the most ancient super beings who created the Eldar, the Orcs, and even humanity. Yes, really. Go and look it up for those naysayers who think that they did not.
Yeah, so that's basically the elder gods from the Lovecraftian mythos, which I love. I love that. Like, there's something so eerie to think that humanity was created. I don't know why. And I also love horror stories where humanity was created, like just as like this kettle or whatever. Like they didn't really care for it. They just needed food or some substance or whatever. Like I find it weirdly creepy, and I hate that, but I love it. So it's might be like that. Like we might have been created by those ding dongs here with their little shiny lights.
This theory, again, at first is captivating until you start to think about it more, and then you realize it doesn't really make any sense. The Old Ones were, as far as we are informed, not shapeshifters, but creatures of light and dark. There was a statement to the fact that just a single Old One escaped the brutal genocide of their race, but then was eventually killed at the birth of Slanesh when the Eldar fell.
What? Okay, I don't know yet about the Elder Fall, so I will like skip that and wait with that for the Elder Fall videos. But so they are beings of light and dark, which implies to me that they are chaos beings. Like light and dark mixes chaos, perhaps. And also they're connected to chaos by like the one that of them. So makes sense, kind of. But why would they commit mass genocide? Like, isn't that a bit counterproductive?
If the Emperor was some other escaped Old One, it doesn't make logical sense that they would choose one race and then ultimately lead it. Although I suppose, devil's advocate, who's to say what would be going in the mind of this Old One after his entire race was extinguished? Maybe it had a crisis of conscience. Anything, I guess, is possible.
It's true.
And then not to mention also the fact that the Emperor would lead humanity to wage war on pretty much every other alien race, which wouldn't really serve any purpose within the context of an Old One's mission statement. They were originally life givers. They seeded planets with life to, create new races in the universe.
Yeah, so that's what I said. It's like primal chaos, where everything comes from. Like also in the Bible, like first God parted light from dark. I think I think that's the first thing God does. Oh God, don't nail me on this. Oh God, I'm sorry if this is incorrect, but I think the first thing he does is like part a light from dark or something like that, and that is actually pretty interesting that this is connected to that. So they are like life givers, like dark and light, and giving life and meaning.
And again, unless it had simply lost the plot and was operating on his own sort of mission plan. There are some things that do fit this theory though, such as Old Ones being very powerful psychic creatures. They had extended precognition, they had very extensive, almost immortal long life, and they would have the ability
They
to
still
genetically
died,
manipulate
so
humans. But all of this seems very soft and is only plausible at best. For me, this theory just doesn't really fit.
oh,
So the last
2001,
theory,
hello.
the one that I personally believe, is that the Emperor was neither the creation of some bizarre suicide pact or an Old One, rather something in between. It's fair to say that in any ancient history nothing is quite as it's written, and that some reading between the lines is necessary.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Like most of the stories, like the first history stuff was like stories. They told themselves stories at campfires. I'm gonna be a bit like broad about this. So they like told stories on campfires about their lives and what they thought and believed and dreamed of, and then they started to create myths from that. And these myths, like there was truth in them, but not the truth that it was explicitly told. And then like it derailed a bit into other myths and different myths, and that's what they told. And I think that's actually how it started in our world. Yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So, what's the truth about the old tales?
The most ancient of history available hints that the last remaining Old One floated around the galaxy, meddling and dabbling and trying to have some last impact on
Why?
the worlds which they felt they had failed and left their race
Oh.
completely annihilated.
Yeah, okay. So, this is again this dark turn that I somehow expected earlier, but yeah, so they created life and then were like, oh, we failed. Damn, everyone's now gonna burn, die, and scream. And what is this here? Is that a psycha? Or is this is not a great old one. A great old ones, he told me, are beings of light. So what is this? Don't know. It looks cool.
We know that the Old Ones were capable of creating beings of immense psychic power. This is how the ancient Eldar defeated the Necrons and Satan, who were, let's not forget, gods capable of devouring stars.
Wow. Okay. Okay. That was a lot of info in one sentence. So the Eldar in the past were like these super psychers, and they destroyed the Necrons, you said, I think. Wait a moment, and the whatever Shata.
Felt they had failed and left their race completely annihilated. We know that the Old Ones were capable of creating beings of immense psychic power. This is how the ancient Eldar defeated the Necrons and Satan.
Yeah, the Necrons.
Who, well, let's not.
Satan. What is that? What are Satans? Or is it Satoon? The C apostrophe T-A-U-N. Is that what he's telling me here? Because I don't know how it's pronounced, so that might be what he's talking about. Someone told me that's living gas. I'm not sure. I'll probably find out down the line.
Forget gods capable of devouring stars.
Yeah, and so how do you devour stars? They probably threw black holes at them. So that's what I would do. If I want to devour a star, like throw a black hole at it. If you're that powerful, you could probably do that.
So the theory I stand by is that a fragmented remaining Old One drifted around the galaxy until he was struck by a precognition so terrible that he had no choice but to resolve becoming involved. It could be that he saw the vision of the Eldar fall or the rise of chaos. Either way, he knew that the Eldar were by now far too arrogant to accept any help and would be of no use, remembering that the Eldar had turned their backs on the Old Ones long ago.
Okay, okay. So the chaos that is threatening them is not the chaos they brought into the world, like this positive force of chaos they were. Is that the way it was? Like they were this positive force of chaos and it got somehow corrupted down the line, perhaps? I'm sure I'll find out down the line as well.
The orcs, who are also an Old One's creation, they were too crass and mindless for such preparation. Instead, he would turn to the weak humans. Weak, but with great potential.
You are the fifth race.
And so he would decide on forming a divine creature, a humanoid of the most immense power, but birthed in such a way that he would not allow those humans would not immediately view him as a god, but as a man.
Yeah, and it also is pretty good that they, like, if this is correct, that would be pretty clever, because then this one man can live through all of history and gather so much knowledge if he's intelligent. Like, he can get a lot of information. He probably will not forget that. And it's so interesting. It reminds me a bit of one of my favorite movies, A Man from Earth, or The Man from Earth. It's about this man who says he's been alive for 5,000 years, and he just tells a story. It's just in a room. It's a great movie. You should watch it. But anyway, this is like a great way to make sure that your guy knows more than just one age. He knows all the ages that there were for humans. He knows all their mistakes, so that humanity's mistakes might not get into the way of the conquest of the universe or galaxy.
To be not worshipped, but instill a sense of power, of awe, of destiny. There
Oh
were other
God,
creatures
what
as
is
well.
that?
Apparently, further along in Earth's ancient history, a creature crashed to Earth who had an appearance we would describe as a dragon. It would seem, though, that this dragon was in fact a small fragment of the star gods, the Satan, who had been destroyed thousands of light years away by the Necrons.
What? Okay, so they're not living gas? I mean, technically they are not living gas. They are living plasma, which is what a star is, basically. So a fragment of a star fell down like in the form of a dragon. Again, the symbol of chaos. There's so much symbology of chaos here in this lore. Pretty cool stuff. And this, okay, so this is probably the dragon. Looks a bit like Syndragosa. Is it Syndragosa? Don't know, but yeah.
Even a tiny fragment of these most powerful beings would be beyond the means of even the most powerful humans to contain. The future emperor in this time wounded this creature and then apparently took it to Mars. I'm not sure how.
What?
But
Okay, randomly take the weird dead dragon and put it on Mars. Let's take the dragon, put him here. And probably then he did research there. Someone told me that the emperor was a researcher, so I was right in that. So he did research on this dragon thing, perhaps.
there it lay imprisoned within the planet. The final chapter of that story, that's one for another day. Still though, this helps to secure the idea that no mere reincarnation of a few shaman could produce such or perform such a task. Could an old one? Perhaps, but given the other evidence I would still discount it. But a perfectly designed humanoid of godlike form created by an old one who would know a most powerful psychic being was needed to counter not just the future darkness of man, but to face again the Satan and the day of reckoning when the Necrons would rise again.
Wow, this I don't know if you have had this thought as well, but this reminds me of Berserk a bit, like of Griffith. Like Griffith was this warrior that was destined to be the leader of everything, I think, or something like that. And then he just had a bad day or a bad 2 years or whatever it was, and then he became just a husk and turned into like this weird thing. Reminds me a bit of that. And also this god emperor dude, he failed then, I think. Like he lost all his power, and why? Why? That's interesting. So it's like the chosen one that failed, I guess. Is this basically that? Is it the chosen one that failed? Like this is like all this has been a chosen one story, and in the end he gets stabbed or whatever, and it's in the coffin for all his life and has to be fed souls. So dark stuff. Interesting turn of events here.
This seems for me the most logical and plausible of origins. The truth, though, is that we cannot know the origin of the Emperor unless some definitive tome is discovered which provides secure evidence as to such, so we are left to speculate until then.
Not even then. Like you need, like in history, you do it like this. You because a friend of mine is a PhD in history. So and she's like always saying like, yeah, you have to like look at the sources you have, and you need multiple sources to really understand what's going on. So just finding one tome, that won't be enough. You need to find several tomes from several points of view. That's the best thing you can find, and then you can like reconstruct it as objectively as possible. Like look at the Bellum Gallicum from Julius Caesar. That's basically one of the only documents I think from that time that like told a lot of stuff, and the history we know about that time, like all the battles and stuff, that's from that book as far as I know. So we know Caesar was a bit of a like very, very proud guy, and he was a propagandist. So like I know some people think that it was propaganda, and like history is written by the winners. So interesting stuff, but yeah, we might never know, and that's for the better. I love this. I love that we will never know.
One thing that is certain, though, is that the Emperor was a human and holds godlike psychic power. He was within humanity throughout all of history, learning, sometimes guiding, mostly sitting in the shadows, until he was needed to take a course of action that would lead us into the age of the Imperium.
What caused him to do that? What was there a specific event? Because I'm imagining this. I'm the Emperor now. Let me take my viral sword. Yeah, so I'm the Emperor. I'm the Emperor, and I'm sitting in this corner, and things happen. Oh, someone just dropped 2 nukes on 2 cities. Should I intervene now? Nah, it'll be fine. I'll just not do that. Oh, look, they've got something called AI. And there's this network connecting everyone, and AI is taking it over. Should I intervene? No, nah, it'll be fine. Oh, there is X on Mars, and we colonized, and we found these weird structures underground on Mars. There might have been some alien civilization. Shall I now intervene, protect them from digging it up? Nah, it'll be fine. And then there will be some event. Like, what caused it? Like he has to have changed his stance because of something. And what was that? What could be so terrifying or important that he knew this is the time? Or was it just intuition? He just suddenly said, oh yeah, by the way, I'm the dude that always sat in that corner, but now I'm your Emperor. Yes, let's go. Let's just kill some Xenos. Filthy Xenos. Like, this is so weird. I hope you will tell me more about this, but I doubt it, because I've got like half a minute left of this chapter of this age, so I hope I will get that in another video. That's so cool.
The last point worthy of mention is that the Emperor of Man would enforce a strictly secular society. In the early days of the Imperium, this would then enable humanity would identify with him as a man and not as a god. They wouldn't project any religious connotations onto him. Also, because throughout the thousands of years he spent on Earth, he would see the terrible devastation and fragmentation organized religion could cause. He believed that humanity... Also atheism as well. Like every ideology. I wouldn't like... And perhaps that's not what they intended, but I would not limit it to religion. I would limit it to ideology. I would say ideologies. Like the ancient ideologies were like religion. Modern ideologies are something different. Like, doesn't matter. But I think those things are like, those are things that fracture people, fracture a lot of stuff. So could only achieve its full potential in a strictly secular state. However, even in the crusading period where the emperor would reunite the lost colonies of man, some people began to spread rumors that he was more than just a powerful man.
Yes, exactly. You can't do it without religion. Like people, it's just in there. I think it might even be in our DNA to believe in something, and even if it is logic. So he probably was like, yeah, logic is probably the best ideology I have, so let's do that. Like, it's like the saying, democracy is crap, but it's the best thing we have. So it's something, people, that saying probably. And so that's why he probably chose secularism, I guess. but then people have this urge to believe. And coming from these other origin stories that the shamans believed, and like the warp like came up in dreams, creating belief, like makes it for me pretty clear that belief in this world is something very essential to how the story played out. Even though if the factions might disagree in part with religious thoughts and say they are like heresy, even though that again then itself is a religious belief, like or an ideology. This is why I wanted to use ideology as the term here. Very fascinating stuff. Yeah, it's like, and this is basically currently the Dune story of Paul becoming this messiah, because it's basically the same, I think. Because also in Dune, Paul saw the future, could see into the future, and then took his action to like put humanity on the path of survival. And this sounds a lot like that. And during that, he as well became like this religious figure. So, by the way, this church is absolutely stunningly beautiful. Stunningly beautiful. And there are many huts here. Like what are these? What are these? But yeah, let's continue.
These beliefs would run so strong, it would even question some Astartes to the faith, such as Battle Captain Nathaniel Garrow, one of my favourite characters in the 40k and one of the few Space Marines from the Death Guard chapter not to be corrupted by chaos.
So Space Marines Astartes can be corrupted by chaos. I think that has been mentioned before, but that's so cool and so horrifying. How? What happens? Aren't they like mentally pretty well? Is that like how does chaos infect them? How is that even possible?
Some citizens of the Imperium consider the Emperor's stance on faith even a test, so as to distinguish those who can see the whole of the truth, that he is in fact the one true God of mankind.
Interesting, it's so ironic. Okay, the Age of Terror. I've been going for 44 minutes, so I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop now, because this is a lot more thoughts I have here than I thought I would have. I just love these stories. It's just, this is exactly up my alley. Like these kinds of stories, these very thought through things. It's like a bit like Lord of the Rings here. I feel like Lord of the Rings, Simarillion, like they created this creation myth of the God Emperor here, the Emperor of mankind. And I love that. All the things he just told me, that is so unbelievably, like, I know I've said it every video now, but I love this. This is so well done. This is so beyond well done. So we will stop here. We will stop here, because I don't want to do videos that are too long, and I want to focus. I want to focus on what is said, because this deserves the focus. And I can't wait where he goes. Like, we know where he ends, but currently he's like this prophetic thing that unites humanity through belief for the people who do believe and make that their goal, and through secularism because of his teachings as well, like the way he structured everything. So both believers and non-believers are united under him, which is so badass. That's such an interesting thing as well. So anyway, that was part one of my reaction. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Just tell me perhaps what you thought. Like, what is your hypothesis about the Emperor's origin? Is it one of the three? Is it another one? Or what are your opinions? And yeah, thank you so much for watching if you're still here. And if you want to support me a bit, like the video, share it perhaps, and subscribe, of course. We were almost at 1,400 subscribers, which is unbelievable, like so many people. And I'm glad that I can share my thoughts with people, and to be welcomed into this great community that is pretty kind. Like, there are so many fandoms that are so kind, and love that. Anyway, I hope that you have a very good day, and I hope you are not as down as I am that 1899 was cancelled, which made me livid. So But watching this made me calm a bit because I remember that there are already great stories out there. And even though other great stories that are currently written are cancelled because of stupid idiots, this one is already there and I can dive into it and it will be worth it. It has already been worth it for me. So again, thanks for watching. Take care of yourself and see you soon for part 2. Bye.